Opalite by Taylor Swift. So now we come to the third episode in our little series on The Life of a Showgirl, the album by Taylor Swift. And this is track 3 called Opalite. I have a feeling this video might be a little shorter than the previous videos and some of those to come. I don't think there's quite as much to dig out of the lyrics of Opalite as there is in some of the other songs, but let's see. Sometimes I surprise myself along the way. Let's begin with a few words about this thing, opalite. Here's an image of some opalite, which more or less matches one of the colour schemes in Taylor Swift's album, that bluish colour. What opalite isn't, though, is man-made or artificial opal. I've heard that term used quite a lot. A man-made diamond is actually still a diamond. It has the same chemical and crystalline structure as a natural diamond. It just happens to be created artificially in a laboratory. Opalite, though, is made from glass or some kind of resin or a mixture of several things. It doesn't have the same chemical or crystalline structure as natural opal, so it's simulated opal rather than artificial or man-made opal. And it doesn't have the colour complexity of real opal either, at least the best opal. So that's what opalite is. That's what it looks like. Now let's dive into the lyrics of the song.
I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts and all the perfect couples said when you know, and when you don't, you don't.
These opening 3 lines are really good. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. We kind of know that about Taylor. She struggles to get over past relationships. And like most of us, however bad a situation was, once that situation is over, we still tend to miss some aspects of it. We even can miss the bad aspects of it. And then this great line where she quotes her brother. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. What a great line. I don't suppose he created it, but it's a really good line. So my brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never going to last. You can't go on feeding yourself on your past experiences, your past memories. And also, hopefully, you don't really want to either. It not lasting is a good thing. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. Very familiar themes from Taylor here. I think if I could note this early on in looking at the songs on this album, that's one of the things that I do notice, that she reuses here a lot of imagery that she's used before. A little bit of recycling going on here, I think. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. Again, this implication that her past relationships continue to live on, continue to haunt her. This is an ongoing theme for Taylor, that she just can't really let go of the past. Memory can be a very positive thing, and Taylor sees that in a positive way in so many of her songs. I sometimes think she creates her songs so that she can kind of solidify her memories and share these with the world, so that that all lives on. The past doesn't simply just disappear, but it's preserved in some way. But this can also have negative consequences if you're so totally anchored in the past that you can't move forward. And all the perfect couples said, when you know, and when you don't, you don't. And I find that an incredibly irritating thing to say. I don't know whether Taylor intends it to be irritating, but I really find it irritating. What on earth does it mean? When you know, and when you don't, you don't. Yeah, right. The trouble with that is that often you think you do know. At the time, you really think you do know. And I'll come back to that because I think Taylor actually hints at that a little bit later, though it's a little bit hard to see the connection, I think. So I think that's a very unhelpful thing to say to anyone. If someone asks you, how do you know when you're finally with the right person? How do you know when you've finally found love? Well, when you know, and when you don't, you don't. I think when you don't is probably true, but when you know is almost certainly not true.
I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts and all the perfect couples said when you know, and when you don't, you don't. And all of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. I was wrong.
I just want to reflect back again a little bit on that previous opening verse. Musically, it has a very introductory feel. There's not a lot going on there. A steady rhythm, a fairly minimalist kind of melody. But when she says, and all the perfect couples said, I think maybe there's a little bit of irony in that statement, maybe even some sarcasm, because there really is no such thing as a perfect couple. To those of us who struggle with relationships, perfect couples can be a pain in the ass. There is no such thing, and no matter what appears on the surface, there's always a lot more going on underneath, which is why it always comes to us as a surprise when one of these perfect couples falls apart, because they're not perfect, and there's a whole lot more going on under the surface than they show to the world, even quite often to their friends and family. But now we move on into the pre-chorus. And all of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. This is a little bit kind of vague and kind of generalized, I suppose. One of the things I struggle with here is what she actually means by it. All of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, and they'll see it again. I'm not quite clear about what that it is. Perhaps, in fact, it is this knowing that you're in the right relationship. We've seen it all before and we'll see it all again, which kind of hints at the idea that I pushed before, that it's not actually true. You don't actually know when you know. They've seen it in my relationships, Taylor indicates, and I've seen it in their relationships. All of the foes and all of the friends. This becomes apparent not only to people who are on their side, but people who are their enemies in some way. The people who want to fight us have seen us fail in the past, be wrong in the past, and our friends too, who want to support us, have seen us fail and be wrong in the past, and, says Taylor, they'll see it again. This is an ongoing process, but again, the it, I'm not 100% sure what the it represents here. Life is a song, she says, it ends when it ends. Again, that's kind of a bit vague. She may be talking about life as a whole. If we see life as a song, it has a kind of natural structure, a natural extension. There's a point at which a song naturally ends. If you go beyond that point, it becomes annoying, it becomes redundant. It's a bit like the idea of life being a sentence. A sentence has a meaning, not a sentence in terms of going to prison, but a sentence grammatically. A single sentence has a meaning, it has a syntax. And life can be seen as that. Its meaning only really becomes finally clear when you reach the full stop. But also I get the sense that it's maybe referring to the life of relationships too, that relationships have this natural course that they take that constitutes a song. It goes through certain movements. There are certain structures within a relationship that resemble a song. And then she adds again this rather enigmatic line at the end of this pre-chorus, I was wrong. I was wrong about what? Well, I struggle to put this together because I think it is all a little bit vague and ambiguous. But what I think she means, and I want to link this back to the end of the verse, what I think she means is I was wrong about knowing. When you know, you know. She's known before. That is her own experience. She has known that this was the right person before. I was wrong, she says. That's all a little bit convoluted, I think, but I struggle with the lyrics here because they are a little bit vague and generalized and ambiguous.
And all of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. I was wrong, but my mama told me it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 my Lord, never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 oh.
She's done it again. Made such a brilliantly catchy chorus. The verse kind of chugs along in an almost introductory feel, but then the song explodes into this chorus, and what a glorious chorus it is. Very difficult not to sing along and bop along. But my mama told me, it's all right, you were dancing through the lightning strikes. Obviously, we can be terrified of lightning and thunder. People often are. But her mother tells her that she danced through them. More musical imagery here. We've got songs, and now we've got dancing. Yeah, they were lightning strikes. Yeah, they were difficult. But her mother tells her she managed to dance through them, which is a nice thing for her mother to say to her. Probably didn't really feel like it at the time, but you were dancing through the lightning strikes. Sleepless in the onyx night. Onyx is black, very, very dark. But now the sky is opalite, that beautiful bluish pink shade. Never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. All of this is what her mother is saying to her. Bear that in mind as we're interpreting this. This is not Taylor, the narrator, speaking. This is her mother speaking to her. Her mother is saying, it's all right, you made it through, and you made it through dancing. You had these terrible times, these sleepless times in the darkest night. But now, she says, now, look, the sky is opalite. And her mother says to her, never made no one like you before. When I first heard this song, I thought, like most of us probably think, that it's Taylor talking here, talking to Travis maybe. Never made no one like you before could indicate a sexual conquest, for instance. But no, it's her mother saying this to her. I, your mother, I've never made anything like you before. You're special, which I think is a lovely way of seeing their relationship and a lovely way for her mother to respond to her. So Taylor's in fact bringing her family into this song. Her brother told her that dwelling on the past relationships was like eating out of the trash. Now her mother is telling her, you're a gem. You've made it through the darkness. You danced through the lightning, and now the sky is opalite. You made your own sunshine.
But my mama told me it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, oh, And don't we try to love, love. We give it all we got. We finally left the table. And what a simple thought. You're starving till you're not.
Now, in this second verse, Taylor addresses who is clearly Travis, I think. You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. It seems fairly clear that she's addressing Travis and she's referring to a past relationship that Travis was in. That the person he was with wasn't committed to the relationship the way that he was. She recognizes that commitment because she herself has made that kind of commitment in the past and not felt that she's getting back what she gave into the relationship. This woman was on her phone and he was just a pose. He was a kind of trophy. And again, Taylor has herself experienced this of being someone else's trophy. And don't we try to love love? I think this is something I've probably mentioned in earlier videos on other Taylor Swift songs, that Taylor is really in love with the idea of love. And she's struggled so hard to find something that matches the dream that she's always had. And the hope is that she's finally found that. We give it all we've got. Again, she's talking to Travis here, but maybe including us in that too. We give it all we've got, but maybe the other person doesn't give the way that we do. You, again Travis here, you finally left the table. Have in mind here the idea of perhaps a dining table, dining together, or maybe a meeting table. It has that kind of connotation. If you get up and leave a meeting, you're leaving the table. You're not negotiating anymore. But because of the food imagery that comes in in a moment, I think there's also this idea that he's leaving the table where they shared food. He's giving but not receiving. He's committed, she isn't. So she's recognizing in Travis the kind of experience that she herself has had in the past. And then, what a simple thought, you're starving till you're not. This is a somewhat enigmatic line to me, and I do struggle to grasp the meaning. I like it, but I struggle to grasp quite the meaning here. You're starving till you're not. I suppose the idea there is of eating your fill, but it's the absoluteness of that phrase that I struggle with a little bit. The only alternatives seem to be starving or not starving without simply being hungry, or that whole range of experience in between. So I'm not quite sure what she's getting at there. Maybe you could give me some help with that. But it is like that idea, and I've experienced this myself, and I think other people experience this, that in a relationship you go along, even if it's not going well, it's easier to stay than it is to leave. But there comes a tipping point in that relationship when the benefits of leaving actually outweigh the benefits of staying, or the costs of staying outweigh the costs of leaving. So it's kind of a switch, and I get that image here. What a simple thought, you're starving till you're not. I'm not quite sure that that's exactly what this means, but I get that idea from it, that there's a switch. The switch is from staying to not staying. There's probably a lot more there that I can't quite get at, and maybe you can help me with that.
Couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. And don't we try to love, love. We give it all we got. We finally left the table. And what a simple thought, you're starving till you're not. And all of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. You move on.
here we have the pre-chorus again. There's some variation, though, in the pre-chorus. And all of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. Before it was, have seen it before, we'll see it again. So the implication there is that the friends and the foes are seeing it in other people. They're seeing this happen in other people's lives. But now it's happening in their lives too. All of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, and they'll mess up again. We all mess up. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. You move on. Not this time, I was wrong. You move on. You move on to the next song.
All of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. You move on. And that's when I told you it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night. But now the sky is opalite. Oh my Lord, never met no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, and now the sky is opalite.
Okay, now we come to the second version of the chorus. It's just a great chorus, isn't it? But now it changes, because now she's addressing her lover. She's addressing Travis, and she's using the same words that her mother used to speak to her. It's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. She recognizes that he has shared her experiences when it comes to love and relationships, and now she's saying to him what her mother has said to her. She changes the next line from never made no one like you before to never met no one like you before. Her mother made her, literally in her womb, but Taylor has never met anyone like Travis before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. So there's a beautiful movement through this song. And I also think that because she's mentioned her brother, she's mentioned her mother, now she's addressing Travis in the same way. So she's kind of bringing him into the family, I think.
And that's when I told you it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night. But now the sky is opalite. Oh my Lord, never met no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, and now the sky is opalite. This is just a storm inside a teacup. Let's shelter here with me, my love. Thunder like a drum, this life will beat you up. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom, and I can bring you love. Don't you sweat it, baby.
There we finally have it, a really good bridge. This is the best bridge so far of the three songs that I've been looking at. Such a great melody and really interesting lyrics here. This is just a storm inside a teacup. Okay, it's a little bit of a cliche. I think she's addressing here the storms that both of them have been through. She's talked about lightning strikes previously. So the storm imagery is being continued here. But it's just a storm inside a teacup. We all know what that means. But shelter here with me, my love. And thunder like a drum. Thunder again, continuing the storm imagery, but now also introducing this idea of a drum, that a drum roll can sound like thunder. So she's linking those sounds here. Thunder like a drum. Life will beat you up, up, up. I love the way she's linking the concepts here. Beat and drum go together. You beat a drum to make the sound of thunder. So thunder like a drum, life will beat you up. And then this is just a temporary speed bump. A new metaphor here, but continuing with this bump. Bump is also a sound. It's very onomatopoeic. Bump, beat, drum. All of that woven into these lines here. Just beautiful use of language. The temporary speed bump is like the storm in the teacup. It's just a hiccup in life. And these hiccups, these storms, these bumps, these speed bumps, they can bring you freedom. Failure brings you freedom. It's an old idea, but you learn from your mistakes. You don't always learn from your successes. It's the failures, it's where things go wrong. That's where you learn how to make progress. That's where you learn how to move on. It's like that in science. It's like that in life. Failure brings you freedom, and I can bring you love. And then we have this love, love, etc., which is, it's kind of it's kind of a little cliched musically, I think, but it's just great too. It's so infectious, so joyful, so celebratory. And then she ends on this line. She kind of spits out this line, "Don't you sweat it, baby." She punches out that line, and it really hits hard.
This is just a storm inside a teacup. Let's shelter here with me, my love. Thunder like a drum, this life will beat you up, 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 up. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom, and I can bring you love. Don't you sweat it, baby, it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes. Oh, so sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 my Lord, never met no one like you before. No, you had to make your own sunshine, and now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 oh.
So she repeats the chorus, but while the lyrics are the same, there's all sorts of vocal ad-libs and variations going on when she sings that. Really, really great. Okay, so there we have track 3 on the album, Opalite. At the time of recording this, it's the song that's been streamed the second most after The Fate of Ophelia. And it's such a good pop song. Going through the lyrics as I have today, I actually found more than I expected to find. That often seems to happen, even when I do quite a bit of research and look into the song in some detail. Still, when I come to present it to you, I often find things, notice things that I hadn't noticed before. For instance, I hadn't really noticed before that those words in the first chorus, "It's all right, you were dancing through the lightning strikes," that whole chorus is addressed to Taylor by her mother. And that, for me, changed the whole meaning of the song at that point. So it's only when I was going through this and talking to you that I actually noticed that, which is great. I'm sure I'll notice other things when I hear this song again, too. So it's absolutely fabulously constructed pop song. It's just brilliant. A great chorus, great bridge. The lyrics are better than I initially thought they were, so this has kind of gone up in my estimation in terms of the album tracks. So there it is. I'm surprised by my reaction. I hope that you heard something interesting and useful there. Maybe you noticed these things before I did, but for me this was a bit of an adventure, a bit of a voyage of discovery, and very enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed my sharing that with you. Please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your reaction to this song, and I'd love to hear your reaction to my commentary as well. See you next time for Father Figure.